What's good, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Off the Backboard, where today we're going to be breaking down the best NBA player at every age. And this video was a ton of fun to make, so if you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to show the channel some love. Any sort of like, subscribe, it's always appreciated. But without further ado, let's get right into today's video. Getting started with the first age group, the youngest players in the NBA is going to be age 19. And this was primarily between two candidates in Cam Whitmore and Gigi Jackson. But I ultimately ended up going with Gigi Jackson, even though they're averaging pretty similar stats on the year. Gigi Jackson, the youngest player in the league, has been going crazy in the month of March. As I record this video, in his last 10 games, he's averaging 19.8 points and 4.7 rebounds, and has just had more moments this year than Cam Whitmore has. So that's what ultimately led me to picking Gigi Jackson over Cam Whitmore. But I also just wanted to give Bilal Coulibaly of the Washington Wizards a shout out, as he's also in this age group and he's been having a really solid season for them. But without further ado, let's get right into the next age. Getting started with the age 20, we're going to have some guys in this list with a ton of potential. Players like Cason Wallace, Grady Dick, Jeremy Sohan, Jabari Smith Jr., Keontae George, Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson, Derek Lively, and Jalen Duren. But there's a clear-cut number one pick for this age group, and that's no doubt going to be Victor Wembanyama, who as of right now in the season is averaging a 20-point double-double with 3.5 blocks and assists a game, just consistently doing things that we've never seen on an NBA court before, and doing all of this before being able to legally go and buy himself a beer. So just not too much has to be said about Wemby, man. Clear-cut number one option for the age 20 group. And getting into age 21, this group is going to have a really solid mixture of potential and production, with players like Amen and Asar Thompson, Alperen Sengun, Josh Giddey, AirPods, Brandon Miller, Benedict Mathurin, Jonathan Kuminga, Chet Holmgren. But ultimately for the age 21 group, I decided to go with Paulo Banchero, who, in my opinion, is quickly becoming one of the most underrated players in the whole league. It's just kind of crazy to me how a 21-year-old first overall pick who's currently averaging 23, 7, and 5 and leading his team to the playoffs in the Eastern Conference just doesn't get more coverage than he does. I'm really excited to see what he looks like in the playoff atmosphere, because just from what I've seen from him, his tenaciousness and aggressiveness, he's going to be a guy that raises his numbers in the playoffs for sure. And just off the backs of him and Franz Wagner, this team is going to be a really dangerous team to mess with in the Eastern Conference for a long time to come. Getting started with age 22, this list is going to be stacked with talent, with guys like Scotty Barnes, Cade Cunningham, LaMelo Ball, Franz Wagner, Jalen Green, congratulations on the baby, Jalen Johnson, Evan Mobley, Jalen Suggs, Jalen Williams, and Cam Thomas. But at the end of the day, I decided to go with the one, the only Ant-Man, who just at 22 years old, though he's not the most talented player in the league, I feel like he has face of the league written all over him. With the play style, the commercials, the post-game interviews, it's just the perfect recipe for a superstar. I feel like he's third in line to guys like Luka Doncic and Victor Wembanyama when it comes to being the actual face of the league. But if he can continue winning with the Timberwolves and lead them to a deep playoff run or a championship, I feel like that title is going to be his for the taking. Getting into age 23, this age group is going to have a really solid group of guys, with guys like Tyrese Maxey, Keegan Murray, Jaden McDaniels, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Devin Vassell, RJ Barrett, and Cole Anthony. But ultimately for this age group, I decided to pick Zion Williamson, who, I don't know if it's y'all or just me, but I really always forget how young Zion is. I don't know why I thought he was like 25 or somewhere in that range. But I'm really excited to see what he looks like in the playoffs, man. It's rumored that since the All-Star break, he's dropped 25 pounds, and he's just been looking amazing for the Pelicans. And I feel like him and Brandon Ingram, they can do some serious damage in this playoffs. That's why I'm really hoping for a speedy recovery for Brandon Ingram. He suffered like a really deep bone bruise or something like that. It looked a lot scarier than just a bone bruise, so I'm really happy that it wasn't anything more serious. But prayers up to Brandon Ingram for a speedy recovery so that him and Zion can go crazy in this year's playoffs. Getting into age 24, we're going to have a really solid group of guys with people like Kobe White, Lou Dort, Anthony Simons, Darius Garland, Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., Nick Claxton, and Tyler Hero. But for me, this was primarily a decision between two guys, and that was Tyrese Halliburton and Ja Morant. Now, this might be the first pick of the video that might be a little bit controversial to some, but even despite all of the antics and the injury that kept him out for the remainder of this year, I'm still going to take Ja Morant over Tyrese Halliburton. Now, Tyrese, he's an amazing player, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, I can't see him being a number one option, number one guy on a championship team like I can Ja. Primary ball handler and primary playmaker, yes, but being the number one option and being the primary playmaker are two completely different things. It was just last year that Ja led the Memphis Grizzlies to the second seed in a stacked Western Conference. And Tyrese, though he's leading his team to the playoffs this year, he's doing it in the weaker conference and at a lower seed. So that's why I ended up picking Ja over Tyrese at the end of the day, but let me know in the comments down below who you would take in this point guard battle. At age 25, we're going to have some heavy hitters with guys like Trae Young, Michael Porter Jr., DeAndre Ayton, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Desmond Bane, and Jarrett Allen. But at the end of the day, the only right answer here is Luka Doncic. 34, 9, and 10. Let me just say that one more time. 34 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists a game. Every single night. That's what Luka has been doing right now. And he's like 4th or 5th in the MVP rankings, which is absolutely insane. Y'all better hope that in the next couple of years, your favorite player gets their MVP. Because once Luka has a team around him where he's a consistent 3rd to 1 seed, every single MVP is his. The numbers that he puts up are just absolutely insane. And I know I said when I started talking about this that he's the only right answer. Shai fans, I am the biggest Thunder fan that there is. I don't think that there's a bigger OKC Thunder fan on this planet than me. And I still, at the end of the day, can say very confidently, 10 times out of 10, I'm taking Luka over Shai. Very confidently. For age 26, we're going to have guys like Lauri Markkanen, Brandon Ingram, De'Aaron Fox, OG Anunoby, and Bam Adebayo. But for me, this was another easy pick with Jason Tatum. Now, I know that he's still 19 and we need to give him a little bit more time to develop, but just roll with me here. At the end of the day, he's the best player on the best team in the league, putting up an efficient 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists, next to 3 other guys that are also going to go out and get their own buckets in Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, and Jrue Holiday. I don't know what other explanation you could need. Even though this is one of the more strong pool of ages in this video, JT is no doubt going to take the 26th spot by a landslide. Age 27 is no doubt one of the more talented age pools in this entire video, with guys like Domantas Sabonis, Jamal Murray, DeJounte Murray, Jaylen Brown, and Mikal Bridges. But this came down to 3 guys for me, and that was Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, and Devin Booker. And I had to give the nod to JB this season, man. Which might be a controversial pick to some, but if you've been really tuned into the NBA this year, you know that Jalen Brunson has definitely been the best player out of the 3. Currently averaging a career high 28 points per game and leading the Knicks to the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. And with 68 games played already, I would be extremely shocked if he wasn't an All-NBA point guard this year. But let me know what you think in the comments down below, who you would take out of these 3. Up next at age 28, we're going to have guys like Aaron Gordon, Kyle Kuzma, Kristaps Porzingis, D'Angelo Russell, and Miles Turner. But for this age group, I ended up going with Big Cat, Karl Anthony Towns. Now, Cat and the Timberwolves have been amazing this year. And I know that Anthony Edwards has been getting a lot of the spotlight for it, but a lot of those games when both Ant and Cat are suiting up, Cat has been the best player on the floor for the Timberwolves. And that's no shot to Ant or anything like that. We all know how amazing Ant is. But Cat this year has just been on another level with his scoring and his shooting. Now, I'm really hoping for the Timberwolves' sake that Cat can come back and, at least be 70 to 80% of himself for the playoffs. Because this is the first season in a long time that they've been good. And it would just suck to see them do all this work during the regular season and get knocked out in the first or second round because of injury issues that they had no control over. So big prayers up to Cat that he can get healthy in time for the playoffs. At age 29, we're going to have guys like Julius Randle, Pascal Siakam, Jusuf Nurkic, Zach LaVine, Derek White, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. But at the end of the day, Bucks fans, don't be too mad at me, but this was a pretty simple decision for me. Nikola Jokic is the best one in the age group. Simply because he's the best basketball player on the planet. So, no, regardless of where he went on this list, he was going to be number one. It's just unfortunate that Giannis had to be in this age group because pretty much any other group that he would have been in, he's at the top of that list. But he got stuck with the Joker, man, and that's just, it is what it is sometimes. Getting into the big 3-0, age 30, we're going to have guys like Bradley Beal, Alex Caruso, Andre Drummond, Marcus Smart, and Fred VanVleet. But this one was another easy one for me. The best big man scorer that we've seen since Dirk or Shaq, we're going to have Joel Embiid. And we all know what Embiid has been doing this season, 35 and 12, more points per game than minutes per game. So he's just been going absolutely crazy on the offensive side of the ball. But as we all know, he's been dealing with this knee injury, so I'm just really hoping he can make a speedy recovery so that we can see him in the playoffs. Because it's rumored right now that he could be back like very early playoffs, like middle of the first round, something like that. So I'm just hoping that we get to see him, man, because I love watching Joel Embiid play. And he was the clear-cut pick for the age 30 group. And right into age 31, we're going to have guys like Jonas Valanciunas, Buddy Hield, Tobias Harris, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Rudy Gobert, Jordan Clarkson, and Thanasis Antetokounmpo. This is definitely one of the weaker ages besides the number 1 and 2 guys in Anthony Davis and Thanasis Antetokounmpo. But regardless of that, Anthony Davis has been amazing this season. He was quoted as saying before the season started that he really wanted to take the reins as the number 1 guy for the Lakers this year. And even though LeBron is a freak of nature and still doing the things that he's doing at like 46 years old, he's been just that for the Lakers. He's played 68 games this year, matching his career high that he put up in 2014-15 with 9 to 10 games still to play for the Lakers. So just nothing. We just got to give Anthony Davis his flowers, man, because, you know, we know all of the day-to-day Davis memes, street clothes Davis, just all of that stuff. And he's really kind of put the team on his back this year. I know that he has LeBron, of course, but you guys know what I mean. So shout out to Anthony Davis for a healthy season, man. Getting into age 32, as we get higher in age, there's going to be less and less players on these lists. But for this one, we're going to have Chris Middleton, CJ McCollum, and Kyrie Irving. But at age 32, I went with none other than Kawhi Leonard, who is still averaging 24 points per game on 52% from the field, 41% from 3, playing great defense and leading the Clippers to one of the top seeds in the stacked Western Conference. He was easily the answer here. Now, I know that there are some Kyrie fans out there like shaking their fists and probably lighting some sage somewhere, I don't know. But it's my video, what are you going to do, bro? Now, at age 33, you're going to have a couple of guys like Nikola Vucevic and Drew Holiday. But this came down to 2 guys, and that was Damian Lillard and Paul George. Now, this is going to be one of my more controversial picks of this video, but I'm taking PG-13, man, so just hear me out. The way that I was looking at this is if I was starting a team today and they said, pick your star player, you can have Damian Lillard or you can have Paul George. I'm going to take the 6'8", 6'9" wing that can handle the ball like a point guard, score like a first option, and play all-NBA defense if he needs to. He's just more versatile. And Damian Lillard, since he's gone to the Bucks and he's been getting a little bit up there in age, he's been struggling with his shooting efficiency. The defense just isn't there. So those were the primary reasons that I ended up taking PG-13 over Dame. But let me know in the comments down below who you would take. Now at age 34, we're still going to have some great players that are just a little bit past their primes, with guys like Gordon Hayward, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and DeMar DeRozan. But this one I went back and forth on for a little while, and it was James Harden and Jimmy Butler. Now, I know for most people that you'd probably just pick Jimmy Butler out the gate, but what James Harden is doing for that Clippers team right now just can't be denied. Giving veteran point guard play, still averaging a double-double with assists, is doing all of the things that they wanted James Harden to do when they got there. But I still ended up just slightly taking Jimmy Butler, because at the end of the day, he's still the number 1 option on this Heat team. He's shooting a career high from 3 right now, 41% on a couple attempts a game. And even though this video is based on right now, current events, I just can't forget what Jimmy Butler turns into once he gets into the playoffs, man. Now, I know that this year is going to be a really tricky situation for him. The Heat didn't really get too much better. A lot of the teams in the East got a lot better, and of course, are going to be fighting through a lower seed again. And it's kind of hard to put that pressure on your back to, just turn into playoff Jimmy every time the playoffs come around. But he hasn't disappointed us yet. So at the end of the day, that's why I took DeMar over James Harden. And I also, or not DeMar, Jimmy Butler over James Harden. But I also did just want to give DeMar DeRozan a shout out, because you could argue that he's the best player on this list if you're a diehard DeMar DeRozan fan. But at the end of the day, I still people are still gonna, jump to Jimmy Butler or James Harden. So let me know in the comments down below who you would rather have on your team right now, Jimmy Butler or James Harden. At age 35, we're going to have guys like Kevin Love, Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook. But this one was another easy one for me, man. Give me KD, the Durantula, the Slim Reaper, Twitter fingers, whatever you want to call this guy. It is so crazy to me that at age 35, he is somehow playing some of the best basketball he's ever played in his entire career. Currently putting up 28 points a game on 52% from the field and 41% from 3. It's just insane to watch, man. As a lifelong Thunder fan, I'll always feel some type of way about KD, but nonetheless, it doesn't make what he's doing any less extraordinary. But real quick, I just wanted to give Derrick Rose a shout out on his retirement. Great NBA career, man. One of the greatest what ifs ever. Just amazing career. Shout out to you for your retirement, bro. And at age 36, there is absolutely no competition. It is none other than Stephen Curry. Now, making this video made me realize two things. One, our league is in great hands when guys like LeBron, Steph, KD, all them, when they retire, we're going to be great. There's no lack of star power in the league. But it also just made me realize, man, our legends are getting old. Steph is 36 years old. If we're lucky, we'll get another 2 seasons of Steph playing basketball like he is right now. It's going to be sad when the day comes, man, that guys like Steph and LeBron retire, bro. It's just going to be crazy for the league. But on a different note, the Warriors need to do something with Steph, bro. This is insane to watch. He's won y'all 4 championships, done literally raised the value of your guys' organization like 30x or something like that. And this man is 36 and possibly won't make the play-in this year. Please make some moves to have Steph compete at least one more time, man. I need to see one more deep playoff run from Stephen Curry before he retires. So the Warriors, get this man some help, bro. Please. And at age 37, we're going to have 2 guys in Jeff Green and Al Horford. And I took Big Al for this one, who just continues to impress coming off of the bench or starting for the Celtics if they're having any injury problems. Shooting 50, 40, 90 this season. Playing 28 minutes a game at 37. He just doesn't get talked about enough, man. A true Swiss Army knife for the Celtics that does a little bit of everything this year. I'm really hoping that the Celtics can continue their dominance, because I'm not a huge Celtics guy, but man, I would love to see Al Horford get himself some jewelry. Up next at age 38, we're going to have 2 guys in Kyle Lowry and Chris Paul. But I took CP3 because even though he's been dealing with the injuries this year, when he's been available for the Warriors, he's been a great veteran point guard presence off of that bench. But what I'm really curious about is what it's going to look like for Chris Paul if the Warriors do miss the play-in. Now, he might stick around in hopes that the Warriors make some moves around Steph to help them compete. He might go to another high-level team to try and ring chase. And even though he hasn't made any comments about it, the man is 38, so he might be thinking about calling it a career. But let me know in the comments down below what you think the next move for Chris Paul is if the Warriors don't make this play-in. And last but not least, the king, the oldest player in the league, LeBron James. Making this list made me appreciate what he's doing that much more. Because no offense to Chris Paul or Al Horford, but that's a pretty big drop-off of talent and production in those 2 ages. And then you get to LeBron, who at 39 years old is still playing at an all NBA level this season. Just absolutely insane. I know that, NBA, the medical technology and all that stuff is advancing, but I'll be highly surprised if we see another player anytime soon putting up the numbers like he is in his 21st season in the league. Not too much needs to be said about Bron, man. There is no one else even competing for this spot, but if there was another 39-year-old in the league, there's no way he's putting up Bron numbers. So while I was making this video, I decided to put together two teams. An older than 30 team and a younger than 30 team. So let me know in the comments down below who you would take. But for the older than 30 team, you're going to have Steph at the point, Kawhi at the 2, Kevin Durant at the 3, LeBron at the 4, and Anthony Davis at the 5. For the younger than 30 team, you're going to have Luka at the 1, Shea at the 2, Jason Tatum at the 3, Giannis at the 4, and Nikola Jokic at the 5. So again, let me know in the comments down below who you're taking in that matchup in a 7-game series. And that is going to do it for me, y'all. I just want to say thank you so much for watching today's video. And this video was a ton of fun to make. I low-key have an idea of ranking all of the ages on best to worst. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys would want to see something like that. If you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to drop a like and a subscribe. I'm currently on the road to 500 subs, so any sort of love and support is appreciated. Again, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I'm about to get out of here. Peace.